story. Jimmy taking movies of Gordon, and Michael, Karen, Janie with us for about an hour, and then she quit. She didn't like what we were doing, what we were watching. Kids were leading the band in Boston Commons, very common sight in New England, the bandstand. Da 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 dum bum 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 bum. 3 cheers for the red, white, and blue. Let it hit it. There's a Janie bug going by. And there's the City Hall, the old town hall of Boston. We didn't, there's the Franklin Bank, just to get a shot of Benjamin Franklin's heritage in Boston. He lived there for a while. I didn't take the camera to the amazing scene of the 400,000 people at the July 4th Arthur Fiedler Pops concert right on the Thames River. But that was an amazing experience where Arthur Fiedler played the 1812 overture with authentic cannons from the war period, from that war period going off as part of the musical accompaniment, Tchaikovsky's 1812 overture. And this is the Pilgrim Monument at Plymouth Rock, Plymouth, Massachusetts. That's, what is that? That's our Forefathers Monument, right? I was trying to think of what that was called. The Forefathers Monument. On the stones, on the writing, there are all of the passengers, the original passengers of the Mayflower boat, the whole list of passengers. By the way, what we were walking when we were back at the Boston Commons was the Freedom Trail. There's a painted walk right starting at that gazebo in Boston where there was a painted rock. Is that Jimmy? Yeah, Jimmy with the kids, and Jamie, and Margie, Karen, Tommy, Michael. And small world that it is. Gordon and his big boys. Love you, Mike. Yeah, come on. What is he saying there? There's a scene of Plymouth Rock Beach, Cape Cod up in the north part of that. There's the Plymouth scene. Gives you the whole seaside view. That's a nice table. Oh, wait till you see this rock. Plymouth Rock was a huge, 100-foot rock that the boat docked next to, and this is what's left. People have been chipping away this thing for 200 years, 300 years. And they finally fenced in what was left of it and called it Plymouth Rock. This is sort of another gazebo kind of a effect. And there was a tourist guide, national park ranger, giving us some of the history of the time frame, boats in the harbor. I think there was a replica of the Mayflower that was built, was there. You could tour through. Boats in the harbor, Michael and Margie, right outside the Plymouth Rock setting. Started to say that Mike drove a tourist bus during his college years on the Freedom Trail, along the Freedom Trail in Boston. Made extra money. Landing place of the Pilgrims in 1620, right around the corner from our Forefathers Monument. Some of the beautiful scenery around Plymouth Rock, nice tourist attraction. Of course, this was at the peak. You imagine this is probably July 5th or 6th, 1776. People driving from all over the United States to the Boston, New England area, visiting the sites where their grandparents were raised. And there's the Mayflower replica. Long lines to get in. I think we passed that trip. We were on our way down to Cape Cod, I think. Plymouth, Massachusetts, Plymouth Rock. With a British flag up on top. Of course, it was a British boat. There was no United States in 1620. Also wonderful to visit is Williamsburg, Virginia. There's an Indian monument. This is the area that the first Thanksgiving was celebrated. The Indians taught those settlers how to live off the wild. Cape Cod Canal. Here's Jimmy getting his bathing suit on. Sort of an embarrassing shot, but Jimmy won't mind, I think. Nothing showing except the sand dunes. This is the area where they have cranberry bogs. So there was a lot of sand dunes and fly traps to catch that ocean spray, the ocean spray bugs, to let the berries grow. This was also around the time that there was this cancer scare. One of the chemicals that was being sprayed on the cranberry plants was proven to be a toxic chemical, so no one ate cranberries that Thanksgiving. Gordon having a catch with his boys on the beach. Okay, Michael, go out for a pass. Go out, wait out. Boom. Michael got it. Passes it over to Tommy. Over to Tommy. No, back to Gordon. Okay, Tommy, you passed it to your brother? Nope. Okay, Michael, you passed it. Tommy, you passed it to your brother. Okay, good. Let's have a little three-way catch. Good catch, Tommy. We had a beautiful day. It's Karen lying on the beach towel there. I guess Margie and Jamie were playing someplace. There was a couple years difference, I guess, between Margie and... No, it must have been more, because Jamie just turned 20, and she's graduating from Brandeis University this year. Got about another 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Okay. There's some Margie with Aunt Mary in Waterbury. And there's Sherry Lynn with Karen. Tommy. There's Michael. And Jamie. Hello, Aunt Marion. This is right in front of Aunt Marion's house on 160 Cook Street, where she lived with her parents for about 10-15 years, Artie Frank. She sold this house shortly after that and moved over to Hillside Avenue. It became a very run-down neighborhood. Cook Street used to be a nice... I used to walk up the hill this way every day to go to Driggs School. It's on the way to Driggs. Hi, Jimmy. And Jamie and Michael. Sherry Lynn is flapping her wings. What's Karen doing there? Tommy, 66. Born in 1966. Oh, and Karen is wearing my JCC, Jewish Community Center softball shirt from Cincinnati, Ohio days when I played softball for the JCC. And I think the girls slept at Joel's house. We stayed overnight a day, and Marjorie and Karen slept at Joel's house, and I think the boys and I slept at Marion's house. Now, where's Ruth? We haven't seen Ruth this. Karen and her daddy wearing my JCC shirt again. I was very happy to have her wear that shirt. You still got that, Karen? Does that still exist somewhere in Cincinnati? Jimmy just got the hip somewhere. Sherry Lynn following Karen wherever she went. They were good friends. And that's Jake Herz. We're in Middletown, New Jersey, visiting Glenna and Jake and Matthew and Ben after our stay in Boston and Waterbury. We're on our way to Gettysburg, but we stopped here for some medical help. Glenna looking good. This is July 1976. This reel takes us all the way to January of 77. Matthew and Ben, Jake. Hey, Tommy. Looks like he put on some weight in Boston already. Likes that American cooking. There's their camper. I think Margie and Ben slept in that camper for a couple nights, or with the boys. And GB and the boys slept in the main house of their house, which we'll see in a few minutes. Hers in Middletown, Connecticut. Karen looking very sexy with her Veronica Lake hairdo. And here's the bay on the Atlantic Ocean of New Jersey. There's their shoreline. Get a close-up of that paddle wheeler later. There's a lot of history related to that gambling casino. Some unique contraptions. There's a sort of a surfboard with a motor on it and a steering wheel. One passenger car.